So it is official, ladies and gentlemen. We have filing ended 2 days ago. We've been talking to candidates since they filed, and we really appreciate, first of all, you being with us. And we have back with us, we always appreciate State Representative Dan Sullivan is back with us. Dan, how are you, sir?
I'm wonderful, Paul, and glad to be here.
Absolutely.
Our campaign kicked off full steam the other day after filing, and we're working hard and visiting with people and talking about these issues.
Yeah. So what can you tell us a little bit about, let's just address the elephant in the room. So we've got audio, Senator John Cooper, not only back on May 28th, opposing the resolution to support the party platform and comparing it to the Soviet Empire, which is strange. But we have a town hall a couple of days ago, and he had, and we got to wait in there to record it. There were people, I think there were supporters of you in the audience that were wanting to ask him questions.
I think we outnumbered his supporters.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But there was a few things said in that, and John Cooper seemed to be explaining, he didn't say this, but he seemed to be explaining why he didn't do what he said he was going to do and how you need to understand the full context of different bills and stuff.
Yeah, that's his biggest problem. We do understand. Everybody understands what he did. John, I've asked John to debate for 3 debates, and John has not even responded. And I hope your listeners will understand how important it is, not just here locally in Jonesboro, but around the state for our senators to have a debate so that people around the state can understand what the positions are, because our positions, the things that we vote on, impact everybody around the state. For example, when John killed the Stand Your Ground bill, that impacted every citizen in the state of Arkansas. It's not just a local issue. So,
and that's an anti-Second Amendment stance, and he's supposed to be a Republican.
Absolutely. And, you can just walk down the platform and see the issues that John has reneged on and gone the other way. And I'm really curious as to why John doesn't debate. I've listened to the clips of his talk, listened to some of that, and he sounds very confident and trying to convince the people in the audience that he's right. Well, if that's true, then you would think he'd be very anxious to sit down and debate with me and just explain his positions, and that obviously the people would go, yeah, John, you're the man. But again, refusing to debate kind of makes his position look very weak, and I think the people deserve that.
We're talking with State Representative Dan Sullivan. He's challenging Senator John Cooper in a Republican primary. The vote will be March the 3rd, and it's just you two. There were rumors that there might be a third join, but the filing's over, so it's only a 2-person race.
Yes, head to head, and the some of the points that John makes in his talks, not only are they just the opposite of what our party platform says. Matter of fact, many of his points he's making and voting for are on the Democrat platform. John voted for 7, which was every tax increase coming forward. You only had 2 Democrats that did that. There were 6 Democrats that had a better voting record on voting against tax increases than John did.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just incredible that you have Democrats with better voting records on opposing taxes, growing government, limited government.
That's incredible.
Yeah, you have only 2 were up there with John.
Wow.
So John is promoting growing government. He's promoting bigger government. He's promoting letting people keep less of their money. Paul, one of the things that we fight here locally, and I think it's true statewide, that our cities do need more revenue. I would agree with that. But the answer is not raising taxes. The answer is that, and it's very easy, just to redirect money going to the state back to the cities. We are one of the most centralized spending states in the nation. We send our money to Little Rock sends it back to us. I've got an idea for letting revenue grow. Let us keep our own money here locally.
Yeah.
Wherever that is, Jonesboro, South Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas, let cities keep more of their own money instead of sending it all to Little Rock. We don't have to fight over reduced taxes. We can keep the taxes the same. Just let that money stay locally and let the local people make that decision.
That's a great point. Go ahead.
And another point, John on this DACA issue and immigration issue. You know, John has voted to let DACA students qualify.
There was a DACA bill in the last session. I remember that. There was a DACA bill, and he voted on the pro-illegal immigration side.
Yes, to let DACA students have in-state tuition at our universities. And while that sounds very generous and compassionate, it doesn't resolve the issues that need to be resolved at the federal level.
Yeah.
And as long as we keep making these minor changes and allowing these little things to happen, it doesn't force our officials at the national level to make the changes. And it puts the DACA kids at the front of the line against United States citizens.
Yeah.
And it's just not the right thing.
Exactly right. Yeah, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Have I ever strong-armed you? I mean, here's the thing. I think you've got a great voting record, Dan, but we've disagreed on things. Remember when we disagreed on the term limits thing? Remember that?
Sure.
I guess, have I ever strong-armed you? Or, you know, because that's what he says. He says that I'm strong-arming or Conduit strong-arms legislators and that you're afraid that you might be talked bad about.
Well, you know, I think it speaks more of the person being strong-armed. You know, you're not going to do that to me.
Right.
It's not within your power to force me to do something.
Yes.
You know, I'm not going to be persuaded outside of what my not only founding principles are, but our sustaining principles. You know, Paul, we talk a lot about a country founded on these principles, founded on that principle. Matter of fact, our first 10 amendments.
Yeah.
Those are not just founding principles. Those are sustaining principles. And when we lose sight of those, then our nation is going to go the wrong way. You know, I know you have a clip to play in a second, but
I want to play it.
yeah, but I was down in Little Rock, and one of the leaders of our education, I think the administrators lobby, was talking about how our schools need more mental health staff. They need more safety staff. They need more of all these teaching kids morals. Well, you know what? When we take God out of our schools, and we had the transgender issue here in Jonesboro, when we take God out of our schools, then we are, how can we be surprised when these issues of mental health and behavior become big issues?
Yeah.
We quit teaching the foundational principle and sustaining principle that we are created in God's image. And when we lose that, those problems are naturally going to happen.
So I'm glad you mentioned that teaching, because there was a bill that was it defeated, or did it become law?
It passed.
Okay,
yes, John
it passed. But John was against a bill that would have created a Bible class that was an elective only, that the kids wanted to be able to study the Bible in an elective setting, and put the Bible back in school, really, and they were going to study it from a historical standpoint, which if you know anything about theology, just opening the book is a good thing. And John voted against that. There was one question that went off topic 2 nights ago. Joe, do you have this queued up? One question that went off topic, and I want to play that for us right now. This is John Cooper responding to why he voted against putting the Bible as a class, studying the Bible into school as an elective. It wouldn't force anybody to do anything. It would just be an option for students. Listen to this.
I'm just curious why you voted against a voluntary Bible class in school, and you're an elder in the church.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that's off topic, but I'm going to answer it. I presume that you don't know very much about church history. Or it would be pretty evident why I did. This country was founded on religious freedom. People came to this country to get away from persecution.
What?
That was one of the factors that drove people to this country. And if you look at what happened during the Dark Ages and some of the other things that's going on in the world today over religion, do you want somebody teaching children religiously in school that has no interest in spiritual matters? I don't. And I think that's just a no-brainer, that we do not want to put government in charge of religion.
Okay.
You look all over this world,
Hang on, keep
and a
going.
lot of the bloody battles and wars that
Stop
we've
digging.
had
Stop digging, John.
occur over religion. And the last thing that we want to do is set up a system of government in this state where we put government in charge of religion.
Stop.
That's why I voted against
Stop.
it.
Stop. That's why I voted against it. Dan, respond to that. Just go ahead.
That statement ought to disqualify one for running in the state of Arkansas. You know, to blame the wars around the nation, around the world, on Christ and on God is a principle that I can't stand by. You know, not only Benjamin Rush, and you're familiar with Benjamin Rush,
One of the best founding fathers.
founding and sustaining fathers. I'm going to help you change your language.
Sorry about that.
Founding and sustaining fathers was about teaching the Bible in school. This is an elective. And it's where John and I really diverge. When you hear of all the problems in our schools and in our nation, God is not the cause of those. God is the solution to those. And when we say that we're going to eliminate God and go down, who was the lady that kicked the Bible out of school originally? And prayer out of school. You know, John's walking right down that path. And that is the solution to what we do, not the cause of what's happening.
And he's also just factually wrong about the bill itself, because
Correct.
the bill wouldn't have put government in charge of religion.
Yeah.
It would just, it's like the same thing as putting the 10 Commandments on the Capitol grounds. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, John did not, in 2017, we had putting "In God We Trust" signs in there. And my wife and I bought
In every school classroom.
every
right?
school classroom, and John did not vote on that bill. He didn't vote yes, he didn't vote no, but you and I both know that sitting on the sidelines is a no vote.
Yeah.
Fortunately, that bill passed, and we now have "In God We Trust" signs all over the state, and my wife and I bought several hundred at our own expense to put those in schools.
Well,
and that's the answer, not the cause of the problems. And if John
I agree.
is saying that God is the cause and religion is the cause, you know, it's not about religion. You know, our one of our sustaining principles, and people that watched our nation grow, and many people have said it in many ways, that our form of government is only good for a moral and religious people.
Yeah.
And we have wiped that out of schools.
We have completely wiped out of schools, and even one of the least religious founding fathers, not Benjamin Rush, but Benjamin Franklin. If you go read his writings, he says the instruction of this idea that when we die, that we are accountable to a power higher than ourselves, is tantamount to instilling a moral compass and having a decent people, understanding that there is good and there is evil, and we get that moral compass from the reflection of a perfect, holy God.
Yeah, and you know, another thing people need to really be concerned about, when John says that's not on the agenda and I don't want to talk about it,
Yeah.
you know, that should tell voters,
Everything.
this is not somebody that I want to be my representative if he's going to limit the questions I can ask him. I can't ask him about the Bible. I can't ask about guns in schools. I can't ask why he supported every tax increase down the line. I'm not allowed to ask him those questions. It's why he doesn't want to debate. And again, those ought to be disqualifiers for anybody. However, that's up to the voter.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
voter's got to hear people say, well, I'm not talking about that. And you can't ask about that. And if that's John's position, it's a very arrogant, powerful position,
Yeah.
power-hungry position.
There was there was a moderator there, and this woman, clearly at the onset of the meeting, set up the rules that we're only going to talk about. He's only going to answer questions based on what is on this, and that you're right. That is troublesome, considering he is an elected a leader. He holds power, and he's wanting to kind of control.
Kind of.
He's
Absolute control.
Absolute control over what people can ask
You
him.
know, that's what big government does, Paul. You know, and John ran originally saying he was a small government, power
He did.
back to the people, give the people, let the people keep their money. They know best. And now John is running from a very powerful position. He's going to control the meeting. He's going to control the questions. He's going to tell you what you can and can't ask.
Yeah.
Who wants to be represented by someone like that?
Yeah. That's a good question, and that's why you're running, because right now John Cooper is your senator, and you think you can do a better job.
Absolutely. And I think, again, the people deserve that opportunity. I think John's wrong on immigration. I think he is wrong. Another point to bring up, when you look at what John's positions are, I don't think John supports President Trump. I've never heard Senator Cooper come out saying, I support what Senator Cooper or what President Trump is doing. When you look at the China factor in Arkansas now, you've never heard John say, I support the president in tariffs, in these issues. John promotes himself as being one that the chamber, he got 100% vote with the chamber. Well, locally, the chamber here supported a big tax increase recently.
Yeah.
That the people defeated.
Well, and the chamber's not supportive of
the
the president.
No,
they're not at all.
No, tariffs, the China
Yeah.
trade, the immigration. The chamber is, pro letting people come across the border with very limited restrictions. So when one says, I'm 100% with the chamber, well, I got an award from the chamber.
Yeah.
I didn't get 100% of the things, but that's fine. I don't agree with them on everything. There are things the chamber has a good position in economic development, particularly locally. We've done some good things, but I'm not 100% Chamber of Commerce guy. And I'm proud that there are things that I disagree with them on. I'm proud there are things I disagree with the state government on. I don't represent the government back to the people. The power is in the people, not in the government.
Amen.
And when the people elect us and the people send us to Little Rock, they send us there to represent their ideas. John was elected on that. The Republicans got behind John when he ran, and they said, John, go to Little Rock and represent us. John flipped, and John decided to represent the government back to the people.
Yeah.
The only nation in the world that I'm aware of, to the extent that we do, where the people tell the government what to do.
Yeah.
And John's very statement of, you can only ask this question, you can only ask that question, says that he is more powerful than the people he represents.
When John Cooper won and flipped this Senate seat back in 2014 from blue to red, I went to the victory party. And
I remember you doing that.
And this is weird. But I had never met Jeremy Hutchinson. But he was there, and I was like, why is Jeremy Hutchinson here? And it's the first time I ever met him, and I think the only time I ever met him. But that's kind of when I was like, wow, you talk about the Republicans back. I mean, the full establishment was back, and then it just becomes a matter of, okay, who are you going to be listening to?
Yeah, do you see those guys up here now for him?
No.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Who you do see, you see several Democrats supporting him.
They've been indicted.
Yes, well, Senator Chesterfield, who's a friend of mine and an honorable lady and just, I think a good legislator in representing her people, said the other day when we were at a meeting here in Jonesboro, one of the reasons she was here in Jonesboro was to support John Cooper.
Well, she's a Democrat.
She's a Democrat, but again, there are multiple Democrats that have a more conservative voting record than John Cooper on multiple issues, not just taxes. You had Democrats voting for allowing the Bible to be in school. You had Democrats, and John votes against it. You had Democrats on other issues that John opposed, that Democrats were for, and John voted with the Democrats.
Can I ask you something?
Often.
We're talking with State Representative Dan Sullivan. He's obviously running against John Cooper. We know that this area is very, very Republican, very, very pro what the Republican Party platform says. I have known that his record he is so vulnerable on the issues that you just mentioned for a very long time. It's really black and white, the differences between you two, and that's what a primary is for. Are you worried, though, that because it is, in my opinion, it is such a slam dunk case, are you worried about some of the tactics and how I have been told that this might be the dirtiest, nastiest race for a primary that the Republican Party.
So you think strong arming is going to go on?
Well, I mean, not on this side of the mic.
We're going to keep the campaign on the issues. Now, some people, and John may be among those, because we campaigned against each other before, and John used issues that were not issue related, but he brought up other things outside of that. And we, as a party committee, got together and sat down quietly with the party leadership to talk about how we're going to campaign, that we're going to keep it issue related, not about personalities. We're not going to try to destroy people. John got mad and left that meeting.
Oh, no. Are you
Yeah,
serious?
he walked up. Billy Sue Hoggard was our chairman then, and Billy Sue called the three candidates together. We sat down around a table to talk about how we were going to treat one another, that we'd stay issue. Anything on the issues is fair, but we're not going to destroy each other personally. We started talking about that. John got mad and got up and walked out. So will the campaign be one of destruction? I fully anticipate it. It's no different than what Cole Peck did in my race previously. Cole couldn't be honest. Cole couldn't stay on the issues. Cole has some issues in this election.
Yeah, he does.
And some questions to answer. But yeah, I think it's going to get tough, and I think it'll get a little bit dirty. And but I have no fear in that. And however this election turns out, God is always in control. He's teaching in my classroom. I'm reading his book. I'm staying faithful, trying to stay faithful as best I can to those principles that we were founded on and sustain our nation, that we will make no law that usurps God's authority.
Wow.
And I'm going to stand by that, and that can win or lose, not based upon what I feel and what I believe, but based upon those true principles.
Yeah.
So I hope it doesn't turn personal, but people are going to, when they are, just like some of the things we've said today, these are facts. It's not personal to John. I have no
It's how he
personal
voted.
animus.
You can look it up. It's black and white on
Yes,
paper.
and you've got a statement. So the fact that you're playing his statements is his strong arm, not your strong arm.
Yeah, exactly. State Representative Dan Sullivan.
Thanks, Paul.
Great. Thank you so much. Look forward to this debate. We just want to get you guys the facts, make the decisions that you want. Again, Senator Cooper's on this program, or he's welcome to come on this program. We'll see. I don't think he will. I mean, just because I would have a lot of questions. We're going to be back here in just a moment.